What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we're talking about summertime fishing. We're talking about a drop shot, different baits, different ways to rig a drop shot so that you can catch fish right now. Some of you guys are probably like drop shot, fairy wand, spinning rod, whatever. But honestly, if I had to pick one technique to catch fish in every state of the country, it would almost have to be a drop shot because it is so universal. And after today's video, hopefully you guys will see that. I'll show you guys some different ways to rig it. Those of you guys that like to flip and pitch and punch, I got a setup for you as well. But a drop shot is just so universal. You know, you can rig it on light line, on a spinning rod. You can rig it on heavy braid, on a flipping stick. But you can catch fish no matter where you are. It's super universal. And right now, summertime, August, it's hot. You got grass, you got pads. It's just a great technique to suspend your bait in front of those fish's face. And honestly, it's not a technique, especially you shallow water fishermen, you grass fishermen, it's not a technique that those fish have seen a lot of. You know, most guys flip and pitch, punch with a Texas rig, something with a weight connected to the head of the bait, takes it straight down quickly, whereas you can do the same thing with a drop shot, but suspend that bait in their face. So again, summertime, grass, pads, but if I had to pick one technique to fish around the country this time of the year, a lot of the time of the year, a drop shot's gonna be my go-to technique. So let's cover what everybody thinks of first. Kind of break this down into different types of fisheries. We'll talk about the reservoirs first. We'll talk about clear water, lowland, and highland reservoirs. You know, this time of the year, we're finally starting to get cooler nights. You guys pay attention to those evening lows, those nighttime lows, and you'll see that it's starting to just cool off just a little bit. You guys know what that means. That means the fall transition is here. It is on its way. So those fish sense that. It's all about bait fish, and they're gonna be following those bait balls. So you deep water fishermen, you cannot leave home without this setup right here. This is a mosquito light. I mean, you can use your favorite drop shot hook. All it is a nose hook. That's mosquito light, real light wire. This is, grab this bait for you guys right here. This is the Net Bait Junior Crush. For these types of fisheries, 100%, I go exposed hook, nose hook, to some kind of bait fish profile bait. You guys have seen some of my drop shot videos in the past. You know how particular I am with specific baits, action. You know, cold water months, you don't want a lot of action. Right now, you want a ton of action. You want a really soft bait that has a lot of movement. This guy is money. But any of your kind of 3-inch paddle tail bait fish profile worms is what I'm gonna go with. You know, your flat worms, like I said, the net bait, the Smalley Smasher, that's another good one. Did I bring those? That's a great one if you smallmouth and largemouth, you want some kind of a bluegill pattern. But again, you got that slender body with that paddle tail on there, just a lot of action down there moving in the current. Deep, clear, open water, 100% I'm going with an exposed hook, just my bait nose rigged. You know, there's a lot of debate if you should just nose hook your bait like this or thread it on like this. I like nose hooking. I feel that when you thread a hook on your bait, you lose a lot of the action. I'll show you guys how that looks real quick. You have to pardon the, see how that's threaded on there? I absolutely like just nose hooking that bait, letting that thing free float back there. You know, that fish comes up, it's got that exposed hook. They're almost 100% of the time they're just, you reel down and load up on them, they're hooked right in the roof of the mouth. But exposed hook, light line, I'm talking 5, 6, 7 pound test. Again, clear water. open water, you have nothing really to worry about those fish getting hung up on. But find the bait fish, find the fish, throw a drop shot, you will catch fish no matter where you are in the country. Now, before I get a ton of questions on this, like I do in every drop shot video, down below in the video description, I will link all these baits and everything. But this guy right here, this is a Cali clip. This is actually, there's 3 sizes. There's a black, a yellow, and a red. They pop onto your rod, super easy. And they have a hook hole right there for Texas, or to just exposed hooks to hook. And they have the little line holder right there to hold your drop shot weight. But it's super easy. Just pull it out and you're good to go. You guys always ask about these clips, so I'm gonna address it right now in the video because I'm sure I'll get some comments about it. But Highland, Lowland, reservoir fishermen, exposed hook, clear water, that is the setup. Go with your favorite drop shot rod. I'll link some of my favorites down below in the video description. You can go with braid 2 liter or straight fluorocarbon, totally up to you. But that is, when most people think about a drop shot, that is what they're thinking about. Now let's change gears and talk about throwing a drop shot on a baitcaster, because that is what I really like throwing this time of the year. 2 different setups. Let me show you the lighter one first. This is a 6-inch Robo Worm, Texas rig. You can see it's weedless, with a 3/8 ounce tied on Swagger tackle tungsten. It's really important to tie your weight on. Don't use the little pineapple clamps or whatever you call it to just wedge your bait in there, or your weight in there. Definitely, if you're using it for this technique, definitely tie it on. But I love flipping and pitching a drop shot. Just like I said earlier in this video, a lot of guys flip and pitch with a Texas rig or a Tokyo rig. Same thing, except for you're using a drop shot. You can change your leader. Tokyo rig has a really short wire leader. This drop shot, I have that owner. This is the cover shot hook. It's just a cover shot hook right there. I have it hooked, spun on itself, and then rehooked. It's a straight worm. It is weedless, but I'm throwing it on a Baitcaster, so I'm really accurate with my flips and pitches. I can fish the grass lines. I can fish the pad edges. Sit there and shake that. I don't have to worry about flipping my bail over or whatever. But this is still a drop shot. I have it on 12-pound fluorocarbon. We're gonna kind of step our way up. I'll show you some other combos here in a second. But I'm power fishing a drop shot, and a lot of guys don't talk about that. They think that you have to throw an exposed hook on a spinning rod, but I can fish this right through the grass. It's really impressive when you can suspend that bait in the grass, get bit, jack them. Now you're fighting them on a Baitcaster. More of a more powerful rod, more backbone, bigger line. You can get them out of that stuff, and you can tie this setup on a spinning rod. I personally like throwing it on a Baitcaster. Get this loop out of my line. But the reason I like throwing it on the Baitcaster is because of the accuracy in close quarters. You know, flipping, pitching, hands down, that is my go-to this time of the year. Around docks, around grass lines, around brush piles. You know, one could argue that the shaky head is probably the best way to rig a worm this time of the year, but everybody's doing it. That's why you should try throwing a drop shot on a Texas rig. Heavier line, heavier rod. This is actually a 610 medium. I got 2 more combos I'm going to show you. But look at this grass. Guys would normally flip and punch this sort of stuff. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm doing it with a quote-unquote power shot, okay? So there is your basic transition from your normal reservoir drop shot setup. Now let's talk about a little bit heavier setup. Now we're talking about a 1/2 ounce weight. We're talking about I just lost my Cali clip. Talking about a more stout of a hook recently. owner came out with the Cover Shot HD. It's a heavy wire hook, okay? You're not gonna bend that out. So when you're fishing around cover, you're fishing around and through things, and you jack that fish and you wanna get that fish out, you don't have to worry about bending out your hook. It's kind of crazy to think about having to worry about bending out your hook when you're talking about drop shot fishing, right? It doesn't really go hand in hand. Most people think light line, finesse, mosquito, nose hooks, but now we're talking about heavy line, heavy weight, heavy hook. That's a 6-inch fat Robo Worm, so a bigger bait, and you're flipping it and pitching it right in the pads. You're sitting there and you're shaking that bait. So you're getting the benefit of fishing a drop shot, suspending that bait in their face, but you don't have to worry about breaking off or getting, spooled or whatever it may be. You can throw this anywhere you want. Dock fishermen, you can throw it around pilings. This specific setup, this is the 610 medium heavy, so a little bit heavier than a 610 medium. I have that Corrado 70 on there. And braid to leader. That is 30-pound braid to a 15-pound leader. That's what's so cool about branching out into the Baitcaster. You can get all sorts of crazy with your setup. I mean, you can go straight braid. If you want to take a flipping stick, we're gonna get to that in just a second. Getting a little bit ahead of myself. But as far as baits, I keep it super simple. I showed you guys the baits that I liked for the exposed hook. One other bait that I didn't talk about, I've talked about this recently in a video. This is the Bellows Gill by Gee Crack. I like to rig that vertically like a, it's a better baitfish profile rigged vertically. That and then those other two little drop shot baits. As far as fishing them like this, I go with 6-inch or 7-inch straight tail worms. So this guy is the 6-inch fat. The one you just saw is just the 6-inch straight. Little more slender of a profile. Again, lighter line, lighter hook. And then if you're really going for it, go with the 7-inch fat. I'll show you this worm real quick compared to the 6-inch straight. As far as colors, I keep it super simple. 6-inch straight, 7-inch fat. Just a little bit more presentation in the water. So if you're trying to catch bigger fish, trying to get away from those little rats, go with a little bit bigger worm. But 6-inch Robo Worm, 6-inch fat, 7-inch fat, those are my go-tos. I keep colors very, very simple. I go with your Margarita Mutilators, I go with your People's Worm, or your Pro Green Pumpkin. Really, really simple. Just depends on your watercolor. If you feel like you're fishing around fish that are eating bluegill, go with that Pro Green Pumpkin. That thing is awesome. Really lights up in the water. And then again, that Margarita Mutilator, that purple, that brown combination, that is hands down my favorite all around the country with that red flake in it. But there it is, guys. That is the Baitcaster. Now, last but not least, you power fishermen, you guys that like to flip, pitch, and punch. Here's a drop shot, 1/2 ounce weight, tungsten weight. That's that haymaker hook with a sweet beaver on there. I have 20-pound mono on 50-pound braid. You can go straight braid, but now you can fish through the thick stuff, the same stuff that you would try and flip and pitch and punch around or through. You can do that with the drop shot, the power shot. This is a 7.7 heavy rod. You can straight jack these fish. You don't have to worry about breaking off, getting hung up, bending out your hook, but you're presenting the bait. I mean, the sweet beaver, that's probably a top 3 flip and pitch and punching bait of all time, right? The reaction innovation sweet beaver. Here I have it, same bait, but I'm suspending it, and that is the key. That is why I feel like I get more bites, just because it's the same bait, but it's being presented in a way that they haven't really seen all too often, and it's fun. anytime, you guys know when you're flipping or punching, you flip in there, that deepest, darkest, nastiest stuff, and you get bit and you jack them and you load up. You don't know if it's a 2-pounder or a 10-pounder, right? Same thing with this guy right here. You jack them, you don't have to worry about bending out your gear, breaking your line. But guys, if you really like throwing the Tokyo rig, you know, you're talking straight wire with a tungsten weight bent on there, same type of setup. You just get a little longer leader. It's more versatile than the Tokyo rig. And if you're around those more finicky fish, you could downsize your line a little bit, downsize your gear a little bit and still catch them. But next time you're out, try flipping, pitching. Ooh, I thought I just got bit right there. Or punching a drop shot, a power shot. Guys, this is a technique that does not have to be just on a 4, 5, or 6 pound fairy stick, fairy wand. You know, it can be power fishing, as powerful as you want. Straight braid, you know, a no jack flipping hook, you know, some kind of heavy 2X, 3X hook, a jungle flipping hook, whatever it is, with your favorite tungsten weight tied on. Make sure it's tied on, not just clipped on, and you guys can go and catch fish in the same stuff that you would be flipping with your Texas rig. So down below, guys, I will leave all this gear, all this stuff, I'll link it all down below in the video description, but try it out. A drop shot this time of the year can be lights out. If you're dock fishing, grass fishing, brush pile fishing, you name it, you can catch them on the drop shot. Guys, if you have any questions, please leave those down below in the comment section. I'll try to get to those as soon as possible. Next time you go out, don't be afraid to throw a drop shot. Don't assume it's just on the spinning rod, and you guys will have more success throwing a worm right now. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you learned something from this video or like this video, please give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys on the next video.